I'm here in Washington, D.C. We've come to the Martin Luther King Library. We're going here to see a guy called Etan Thomas. He's a basketball player and poet. I think he's with some kids at the moment, doing a reading and signing some books. So we're going to go in and chat to him.
Making sure cats don't have the chance to atone for their crimes. These methodologies have been used since the beginning of time, causing wreck by people in power that have a God complex, once held in check by his son, telling the people he who is without sin to cast the first one. Stones used to be the weapon of choice, but now they use lethal injections. Protection from the masses in the form of execution. An eye for an eye is your solution. You feel justified in murdering people who murder people to show that murdering people is wrong. Singing that song of what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You scandalous barbarians enforcing evil traditions. What makes you think that death by lethal injection is any less sadistic than the gas chamber of public hangings? Being stoned to death or the guillotine, the firing squad, or the crucifix? The answer is simply this. Each method of capital punishment is equally sick and vicious. What gives you the right to decide who deserves to die and who doesn't? If you play God too long, the real one might get upset. See, only he knows. He judges the ways of the wicked when that time comes. So why are you trying to do God's job for him? You are not on that level. A devil posing as an angel, but I see through your disguise. Your horns are protruding through your conservative lies. Don't tell me that your thirst for blood doesn't translate to my ultimate demise. I'm not deaf, dumb, or blind. I've seen your handiwork over the course of time. I've been permanently stained by the blood dripping from your fangs. Once visiting a crime where black men with broken necks bore witness to your idea of justice. Your nooses grace the necks of my memory, reminding me constantly, but I'll always see clearly. You are in no position to accuse anybody of anything, but still you do. Breakthroughs in DNA rescues brothers from your grasp. Wrongly accused faster than the speeds that your lies travel. Unraveling facts ignored by frightened eyewitnesses. Sentencing has been resting on the tongues of white Memphis belles since the time of Emmett Till. But if I can afford my freedom, I can buy it. High-priced lawyers occupy not guilty verdicts, but what happens if you're poor? Now, I don't know if he did it or not, but rest assured, if OJ wasn't rich, he would be on death row right now counting down his days. Even with the presence of that racist Mark Furman or the questionable handling of the evidence, reality would have reared its ugly head. Statistics tell me that a black man accused of killing 2 white people will get the death penalty, period. The rich are allowed to swim to the surface while the poor are left drowning in the abyss of hopelessness. For every OJ, there are 100 Mumias, sitting on death row waiting their time of execution, watching the clock tick the minutes of their lives away. Treated as an open and shut case without being found guilty beyond the shadow of a doubt. Imagine being on trial for a crime that you didn't commit. Not allowed to represent yourself, but forced to put your life in the hands of some unqualified public defendant who doesn't even believe you're innocent. Watch him stumble over poorly prepared notes while gazing at a crowd that's anything but one of your peers, fill you with dismal sneers of disdain and distrust. Lacking financial resources can lead to an absence of a fair trial. Now you've tried to extend your slang songs of slaughter to include women, the mentally retarded, and children. I guess you're an equal opportunity killer. Nesting eggs of destruction to birth newborns of restless corruption, the murder that murder produced. By the time we catch up to justice, we'll be out of breath, left gasping for a freedom we could only dream of.
Don't listen to anything he says.
Oh, ooh.
Swap seats?
Swap seats.
Sorry. So how'd it go today? Is it good?
That was
Did they all
good.
come down from one school?
Was that?
They all come down from one school?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
With me, it was the aspects of the case as far as, when you have a public defendant and, I saw the way the case was tried and, then I started reading more about how, the percentages of men, usually, lower economic men, situations, they have these public defendants and the way the cases are presented and how much more likely they are to get the death penalty. And that's why I was like, well, this isn't a fair system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I took it a step further, started researching more and more. And, then I then I had a whole different opinion, you know, on death penalty. It's not really something that I thought about a lot before, you know, but then I started looking at the religious aspect of it, and you hear right-wingers a lot. You know, you hear Republicans a lot of times be for the death penalty, you know, and they're supposed to be, you know, the Christian, pro-life, but, you know, you can't be pro-life and then be pro-death at the same time. So I think it's just a big contradiction.
Do you find it hard to straddle being a sportsman, being political, you know, doing your poetry? Is that a hard place for you to be in? Or do you
No, it's actually easier to be able to do it because I play sports and because they see me, you know, when I'm visible to them, they see me play. And, you know, it's easier to talk to them. You know, I mean, young people listen to people that they're familiar with or can identify with. You know, and you know, those are usually sports stars and entertainers. And you know, the fact that I play in the NBA, you know, just allows me to be able to talk to them, you know, much more easily.
They're listening.
So, they listen.
You already got that stage.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Mumia comes from a place sort of where not only is he so isolated, but you know, his voice is out there, mostly on the web, you know, maybe to people who are already looking at it, you know, looking for it. Do you feel that there's a certain level of responsibility coming with being in the media spotlight in the first place?
For me personally, I do. You know, like sometimes it's hard to put that type of pressure on everybody because everybody doesn't want that type of pressure.
Yeah, of course.
But for me, I look at it as, you know, as an opportunity to be able to stand on a platform. You know, the athletes that I really admired growing up were the Muhammad Ali's and the Jim Browns and Bill Russells and, you know, Kareems and Tommy Smith and John Carlos are athletes that really use their position as a platform to be able to speak out on different social issues or give their opinions. You know what I mean? Because you have a platform. You have access to the media. You could, you know, rally people around. You have so much things that you can do as an athlete. And I looked at them and I said, well, that's the kind of athlete that I want to be. You know what I mean? And I just try to follow in their footsteps, you know?
Who do you think are kids' heroes today? I mean, you know, like is it, you know, who are there any more Malcolms? Are there any more Martin Luther Kings? Are there, you know, it's interesting. You know, you got a T-shirt on, we're sitting in front of this. You know, who are those heroes? Are they just sports stars?
I think it's different for different people. You know what I mean? I mean, for me growing up, those are the people who I was really, you know, looking to, reading everything about Malcolm that I could possibly read. You know, when, you know, everybody's different, but a lot of times young people do look at, you know, the present day athletes and entertainers as the people who they look up to and listen to, you know, and you know, sometimes people say things that are good, sometimes people say things that are bad. You know, sometimes people are good role models, sometimes people are bad role models. But, you know, it's a lot of pressure to put on somebody who doesn't want it. You know what I mean? Doesn't want that type of pressure, doesn't want that type of responsibility. But, you know, for me, it's something that I welcome.